Yeah, Pink, It's Like Red But Not Quite.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, well, my main guitar is an old Fender Stratocaster that's shell pink, like they did in the 60s. And we did a show with Aerosmith up in Syracuse, New York. It was the New York State Fair. And, after the show, Steven Tyler wrote Pink, It's Like Red But Not Quite on the back of my guitar. So anytime someone gives me crap about playing a pink guitar, I just say, oh yeah, flip it upside down. So
Nice.
I get lots of heat for playing a pink guitar, but I think it's awesome. I'm a massive Elvis fan, so that's why I wanted it to be like the Cadillac, I'm the biggest Tom Petty fan in the world.
Really?
Yeah, well, the first time I heard Tom Petty, it was, I don't know, that's when I decided, I want to write songs, because it was music that really moved me. Before that, I just listened to a lot of blues music, and, it was more just like my old lady left me, I'm gonna kill that man she's with, that kind of thing. And then when I heard Tom Petty, I don't know, I just started writing songs, and I just loved the whole vibe. And he had a band, and I thought that was so cool, because it's like they all belonged to this group, and I wanted a band, so I have these guys, and I just love rock and roll music.
We did. You were what, 2 years? 2 years
yeah,
behind
I'm 2
me?
years younger than he is. And when we had a shift in rotation in the band, Noah is actually a really good drummer. Nobody knows that, but that's how I knew him. And so he contacted me. I knew he played bass too, and was like, "Yo, man, we should play sometime. I'll play bass, you play drums." I'm like, all right, cool. Why don't you come jam with the band? And so he's in our band now, so which is cool. But yeah, so we both went to Belmont, and he graduated 2 years before I did. So
Very cool. And how did you come along?
Oh, I met Tyler in New York City at a radio interview, and we kind of just became best friends real quick. And,
That is not true at all.
Well, that's not true.
When
At first, he didn't like me because someone introduced me to him as the guy who was going to put him out of a job.
So we were at my radio interview. I had no idea who this long-haired kid with a guitar was. And this guy goes, "Tyler, this is a kid that's going to put you out of a job." And I was like, "Who are you, coming in here?" And so I kind of kept my distance from him until I heard him play. And then I was like, "Okay, come be in my band." He was going to Berkeley. And I was like, "Why are you going to school to play music? You already wail. Let's go on the road."
And you just jumped on that.
Yeah, I spent about a semester at Berkeley College of Music, and I was stir crazy there, so I had to get to Nashville.
Yeah, he came to Nashville. I was sleeping on the couch in my living room, and the first night he was in Nashville, we set up this massive wall of amps in my living room, and we had these wireless receivers for our guitars, and we were walking around the neighborhood to see how far we could hear it. And this was at 3 in the morning, and we're standing out there in basketball shorts, just trading solos. It was so fun.
Probably not a lot of fun for your neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ended up having to move eventually.
Nice.
It's been great, It's we've been working with the team over at Carved Records and with EMI really heavily on just getting this record out to the people, and it's been really great. We're super excited about it, so we're really happy with the record, and yeah, it comes out January 22nd, and it's been great. We've never had a team behind us. We've always just done it ourselves. Our previous release, From the Sandcastle, we recorded in my basement, and no one really knew that. And we didn't want to tell anybody that we did it in the basement, so we said we did it at the Sandcastle Studios. Oh, it sounds great, And but it's been great to have a team of people who believe in us and support us. Well, we did a lot of growing as a band. We worked a lot with Dennis Herring here in Oxford, and Dennis is great. He's amazing, and we really learned a lot working with him. And then the day we finished tracking our record, the bass player that had been with us for about 3.5 years told us that he wasn't going to be in the band anymore. So I stood right down the street here, freaking crying like a little girl, what am I going to do? And, and it just kind of, it turned a good thing a little bit sour for me. And that's not the entire reason. We just did a lot of growing as a band, you know, and it worked out for the best, and I'm really thankful, you know, for the time we spent in Oxford. The people here are so good to us, and we learned a lot, and I think we had to do what we did in Oxford to make the record that we made, you know, and it all worked out like it was supposed to. Like, we couldn't have done it without Calvin, we couldn't have done it without Dennis, couldn't have done it without all these guys. And then we went back to Nashville, and I told my manager, I was like, you know, if we can, like, cancel the shows that we had a ton of shows. It just kind of threw us into a tailspin, and we auditioned about 25 bass players, and then found this guy.
I was the prettiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but it kind of worked, and he brought something that was like a new energy that kind of pushed us, and we started working on songs together as a band, and we just thought we should just go reattack this and see if we can't beat ourselves. So, and we, instead of spending 3.5 months doing a record, we spent 13 days doing it, and we did it all the analog tape, and it sounds like a rock band in a room together, and I'm really proud of it.
And it comes out
January 22nd. Juju Yaya, yeah.
And it's phenomenal.
You like that?
I love it.
Nice.
I want to buy it, but I can't find it anywhere.
That's
So,
awesome.
Just tell us a little bit about the Dead Cool Dropouts and what that project is and what you're doing with it now that you're so involved with
Yeah.
Shakedown.
Well, you know, it's the Dead Cool Dropouts is just kind of like an imaginary band that Lisa Veronica and I have, and I got a tweet one day from this Australian girl saying like, wow, I really like your music, this is inspiring, all you guys check it out. And so all of these rabid Veronica's fans were like, oh my gosh, you guys are great, whatever. And so I was like, who is this girl? So I wrote her, and she's like, I like your music, like, I'm writing for a record. And I was like, oh, well, we should write a song together, you know. She was cute, and I thought that would be great. And so I went to LA, and we started writing a bunch of songs together, and it didn't really fit their stuff, and it didn't really fit my stuff, but it was just so much fun to write. So I thought, well, you know, those are all just like basement demos that we just wanted to share, you know, because as just a fan of music, I love hearing stuff like that from artists that, you know, because so many bands post about like writing these songs, I'm in the studio, and then the fans never hear anything of it. So we just thought we would release a couple of demos and see if people liked them. And yeah, it's pretty overwhelming, the response that they've gotten. It's cool. But Lisa's an amazing singer and an amazing songwriter, and it's just really fun.
This guy right here.
Oh, jeez.
Yikes. I don't know if we can say any of that stuff.
You can.
No empty water bottles in this one.
I think the best part of playing with Tyler and these guys is, you know, no matter where we're playing or, you know, how many people we're playing to, we just, you know, a lot of bands go out and they you know, play music just because they want to be famous or make tons of money, but I mean, which wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily, but we always, like, whenever we get up on stage together, we just like have a great time, you know. We could be playing to 2 people, you know, we could be playing to the bar backs, and we always have just a great time, and we always just do it, I think, for ourselves, really, more than for everybody else. It's kind of just, so yeah, we just always have such a great time. The worst part about touring with these guys, probably, I mean, I don't really have anything bad to say about these guys. I would say that probably the worst part about touring is having to eat a bunch of fast food all the time.
I don't know. Every morning,
Dude, I don't know, man. You look.
every
Although I
morning
love
when we wake
Chick-fil-A.
up, Graham's like, Chick-fil-A, looking around for exit signs.
Yeah.
Today we drove like 30 minutes out of the way just for Chick-fil-A.
That was kind of an accident, though.
Yeah.
Worked out.
All right, Noah.
I mean, the best part, besides the fact that I get to drive around with my friends playing music for a living, is just the fact that these 3 guys are all so good at what they do that it constantly you know, pushes me to be a better musician, and that's great. That's something I've, you know, always looked for in a band and haven't always had. And so that's great. I really appreciate that and value that. Worst for me are the overnight drives. I hate the overnight drives. Everyone gets cranky and no one wants to drive.
We do a lot of those too.
We do. So,
Really like the overnight.
we'll work our way out of those eventually.
You like the overnight drives because you just sleep and don't drive.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I'm the one who's driving. Come on.
I would say for me, I've been with Tyler the longest of anyone, and so I don't know. I mean, Tyler's always pushed me. It's funny because when we met, I didn't really expect us to really kind of like the same band or hit it off. I just was like, all right, whatever, we'll just meet and hang out. And it was immediate, we were best friends. It was weird. That sounds dumb, but we connected a lot, and we were let's play. And as soon as we jammed the first time, we were like, let's do this. Let's make a career out of this. And so it was wild. I'd never ever met someone like that before, or never played with anyone like that. So I mean, he inspires me, and all these guys inspire me to be better. But I think Whitford said it best. Graham, sorry, I call him Whitford. We just love to play music, and it doesn't matter where we are or who we're in front of. We just every night we have a blast, and even if we're sick or even if we're playing for the bartenders or even, it doesn't matter, we just have a blast. And I think that's what's most important, because when it's not fun, then there's something wrong. And so we just have a good time. And for the worst part of the road, I would say, would be our stops, because we can't stop for less than 30 minutes. It's you'll walk in and Graham will be staring at the candy bars what should I buy? And Tyler will be just wandering around on the phone. And I do the
You're
same.
guilty of
I'm
that.
guilty of it too, I have to admit. He's probably the best, but it's
sitting
hilarious.
in the
It's
van after 5
all right, let's
minutes.
make this a quick stop, and it lasts 30 minutes, and we're late to sound check. It's why are you late? Well, we stopped 6 times. It was a 2-hour drive.
Half
Anyways,
the time we don't even end up buying anything.
No.
We'll stand there for. It's just silly.
but it's. You have to, a lot of times we just have to get off the road. It's just let's get out and walk around. And so I get it, but it's hilarious. It's comical. We talk about it, and we're like, yeah, let's fix it. Let's be faster about this, and it never happens ever. So, anyways, there's not too many bad things about the road. I mean, I like being on the road. I would rather be on the road than anywhere else.
Well, I started playing music. Well, I got my first guitar at 7 years old, 6 or 7. Had about 3 strings on it, little garage sale guitar. I shot BBs through it when I was a kid, because that's the kind of kid I was. And one day I saw Elvis, and I was like, I have to be Elvis. So I dyed my hair black. My mom did. She was kind of supportive of me being Elvis. And she made me a gold jacket. I went to first grade, and the teacher called. Miss Turner said that I had an identity crisis, and I was a disruption to the class, So after it took them some time to convince me that I wasn't Elvis, and so I decided that I had to make Tyler cool, just so I could carry on. And when I was 11, I kind of put music away for a second when I realized that I wasn't Elvis. And when I was 11 years old, I walked into this music store with my dad, just a random thing, and there was this guy in there named Roosevelt Twitty, who's just this old black bluesman, and he's instantly I fell in love with him whenever I heard him play and sing, and I knew that that's what I had to do. I had to get that sound, and geez, I was still singing like this, at 11 years old, and I sat down with him, and he asked me if I liked the blues, and I told him I didn't know what that was, and he started turning me on to all these records like Lightning Hopkins and Muddy Waters and B.B. King and, all of these guys that he loved. And it started to influence me as a child. And I used to wake up every morning and just put on these records that I would love. And I'd lay in my bed for hours just listening to these records. And as a guitar player and a singer, and I kind of started playing around and building up a little bit of a fan base, and then ended up getting a record deal offer at 13, something silly like that, an age where a kid should just be a kid. And they wanted to pair me up with other kids and put together a pop band. And I was like so offended by that. I just wanted to play blues music. And that song, Poor Boy's Dream, it's just about, a kid following their dreams and, mainly a kid who's obsessed with music, driving around just to listen to music and staying up all night playing his guitar and not caring about making money, but just being happy because they're doing what they love. And, that was a song that almost didn't make our record. And I convinced everyone, along with Dennis Herring, he helped convince everyone that was an important song just because it means so much to me, because it is my story. And I know there's a lot of kids just like me out there, like, Graham's the same way. All these guys, they wouldn't be as good as they are if they didn't, have that fire, that drive to play music, so. Oh, man.
They don't have a TV show called Oxford?
When we lived here, I loved like walking around this town square. Like we had such a good time. Like you go down to none of us really go down to Broadway in Nashville ever. It's just not our scene, and it is a lot of people's scene there, but it's not ours. So we never go down there ever. And so like for me, like a few of us are from smaller towns. Graham's not really, but we kind of grew up like feeling smaller. So this feels awesome to me. And I love the atmosphere here. I love that it's like a college town. Like that's cool, and everyone's really.
Yeah, Nashville doesn't have any colleges.
Yeah, but I mean it's. I hate
It's like there's like a nice community here. I feel like a nice small like tight community.
I went to a college in Nashville, Tyler. Thank you very much.
Worst part of being on the road.
If it made me look stupid, so I'm not offended.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I was gonna make a college joke there, but
Thanks for holding off.
if Nashville had Proud Larry's, it would be perfect. Because whenever we were down here in Oxford, working at Sweet Tea, we played Proud Larry's every Monday night. And that's where our record kind of got whipped into shape. Was we had a batch of about 80 songs and we learned all of them, and we would come in there and we'd say, people started going to the bathroom in that song, or people were yawning in that one, or that chick's asleep, and we kind of, that didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
But we have a lot of really good memories at Proud Larry's. And just driving in here today, I haven't been here in a few months. We've been on the road, and it was cool. Kind of like all these memories started coming back, good and bad. But I feel like, we kind of have. Well, that was before your time, but I know that the three of us kind of have a special connection with Oxford, just because these songs that are so close to us kind of started out here a little bit. So.
I mean, when we did pre-production with Dennis, we spent a month every day in a living room with our gear, with like mattresses beside us, so we kind of blocked the sound. And we literally, like Tyler said, worked through like 80 songs. And so it was like we wake up, we go straight there, and we're there till 3 a.m. We go home, we barely sleep, and we do it all over again the next day. And it was every day for a month, and then every Monday night we were here at Proud Larry's. And so, like Tyler said,
Pretty much every night we were here at Proud Larry's.
Yeah, well, right, eating, because we always came here. But anyways, yeah, there's something special that I think we'll all have with Oxford, or at least the three of us. Maybe this guy at some point.
We'll see what happens.
I turned 21 in Oxford, just right on the street over there, and like, it's just so many good memories of just like hanging out, walking around, and we stayed in this little house out by a golf course somewhere, and I slept in this tiny little closet. And then anytime Graham would take one of his like massive showers, the water would drain down the floor and into the closet where I was sleeping on this little twin mattress, and then it started getting moldy and my eyes got kind of infected. It was, but yeah, good memory.
Good way to end that question.
Hi, I'm Graham Whitford.
I'm Noah Denny.
Caleb Crosby.
I'm Tyler Bryant. We're Tyler Bryant, the Shakedown. This has been our Oxford session.